Namaskar, hello and a very warm welcome viewers. It's 9 p.m. and you're watching the news with your host Kriti Mishra. In next 30 minutes, we'll get you all the news from around the world. First up, the headlines this Tuesday evening. Historic day for Northeast, says Home Minister Amit Shah. Assam and Meghalaya sign agreement to resolve 50-year-old border dispute. Prime Minister Modi hands over homes to 5,21,000 families in Madhya Pradesh, says previous governments did nothing to empower poor. Budgetary process for 2022-23 concludes. Rajya Sabha returns appropriation bill and finance bill to the Lok Sabha. Prime Minister Modi to attend 5th BIMSTEC summit on Wednesday. Jaishankar's address to ministerial meeting stresses regional cooperation in multiple areas. Crucial round of talks in Turkey to end tensions between Russia and Ukraine. Refugee crisis in Europe at its worst since World War II. Let's take a look at our flash news segment. President Kovind felicitates winners of 3rd National Water Awards in Delhi. Supreme Court to be soon connected to the National Judicial Data Grid. Fixed trade margins, prices of over 40 costly cancer drugs, says Health Minister Mandavia. India offers help after hospital in Sri Lanka suspends surgeries due to shortage of medicines. Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett's 2-day visit to India from April 3rd postponed. New date to be announced soon. Delhi Assembly passes annual budget 2022-23. Satish Mahana elected unopposed as the Speaker of the 18th Legislative Assembly of Uttar Pradesh. BJP MLA Ramesh Tabadkar elected as the Speaker of Goa Assembly. Mixed effect of nationwide strike of central trade unions, banking services and public transport on second day. Army helicopters pressed into service to control fire at Srivastava Tiger Reserve Forest in Rajasthan. And Assam and Meghalaya on Tuesday signed a historic accord to resolve their 50-year-old border dispute. Home Minister Amit Shah, who was present at the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between the two chief ministers, said it is a historic day for the Northeast. He informed that today's agreement settles 6 of the 12 points in the dispute that comprises nearly 70% of the boundary between the two states.
आज का दिन एक विवाद मुक्त नॉर्थ ईस्ट के लिए ऐतिहासिक दिन है। जब से देश में मोदी जी प्रधानमंत्री बने तब से 2014 से मोदी जी ने नॉर्थ ईस्ट की शांति प्रक्रिया, नॉर्थ ईस्ट के विकास, नॉर्थ ईस्ट की समृद्धि और नॉर्थ ईस्ट की सांस्कृतिक धरोहर के संवर्धन के लिए अनेक विध प्रयास किए।
Chief ministers of both states also expressed hope that the other issues will be also resolved soon. Assam Chief Minister Himant Biswa Sarma said in the next 6 to 7 months, every effort will be made to solve the remaining 6 disputed sites.
Sir, because of your leadership and because of the direction that you gave, that we are able to come here today and conclude the first phase of the 6 locations. We will do our best, sir, to see and to ensure that we are able to complete the other locations also at the earliest. Sir, हमारी पूरी कोशिश रहेगी कि हम लोग इसे आगे ले जाकर जो बाकी जगहें हैं जहाँ पे डिफरेंसेस हैं उनमें भी हम जितनी जल्दी हो सके सर उन्हें पूरा करने की हम लोग कोशिश करेंगे सर.
And moving on, Prime Minister Modi on Tuesday hit out at the opposition parties, saying that some gave the slogan Garibi Hatao but never tried to empower the poor. The Prime Minister was interacting with the beneficiaries of the Pradhan Mantri Gramin Awas Yojana after the Greh Pravesh program for 5,21,000 houses in Madhya Pradesh. He said the houses built under this scheme are proof that the poor are getting empowered. He also asserted that providing Pakka houses to the poor is a commitment to instill confidence in the villages and the first step in breaking the shackles of poverty.
गरीबी दूर करने के लिए नारे बहुत लगाए, लेकिन गरीबों को सशक्त करने के लिए जितना होना चाहिए था वो नहीं हो पाया। और ये मेरा विश्वास है कि एक बार जब गरीब सशक्त होता है तो उसमें गरीबी से लड़ने का हौसला आता है।
And Prime Minister Modi on Tuesday highlighted the significance of the Museum of Former Prime Ministers that he is inaugurating next month at the Teen Murti Bhavan complex. Addressing the BJP Parliamentary Party meeting, he suggested that all MPs visit it. The Prime Minister will inaugurate the museum on 14th of April, the birth anniversary of Baba Sahib Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar. The museum will display the contributions of all the former Prime Ministers through various mediums. Prime Minister Modi also referred to the extension of the free food grain program, Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, and asked the MPs to inform people about the scheme. Union Home Minister Amit Shah, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, Party President JP Nadda and many other senior leaders were also present at the BJP Parliamentary Party meeting.
टीकाकरण हो, वैक्सीन का कार्यक्रम हो, ऐसे पोषण का कार्यक्रम हो, ऐसे बहुत से कार्यक्रम हैं जो इन दिनों में हम एक दिन संसद अपने संसदीय क्षेत्र में करेगा सांसद, और प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस करके सामाजिक न्याय के विषय को नीचे धरातल पर उतारेगा। ऐसा ही आज की बैठक का मुख्य उद्देश्य था।
Moving on, President Ramnath Kovind launched the Jal Shakti Abhiyan, Catch the Rain, to ensure water security in the country. The campaign will run till 30th of November. Addressing the event, the President said the campaign will focus on underground water resources and expansion of catchment areas this year. He said the government is making all efforts to ensure water security and conserve water bodies.
आज जल संकट एक अंतर्राष्ट्रीय संकट का रूप ले चुका है। जल संकट से जुड़ी स्थितियां धीरे धीरे भयावह होती जा रही हैं। कुछ रक्षा विशेषज्ञों ने तो यहां तक कहा है कि हो सकता है कि भविष्य में यदि विश्व युद्ध हुआ तो भौगोलिक आधार पर नहीं होगा बल्कि जल के स्तर पर होगा। ऐसी स्थितियों से मानवता को बचाने के लिए हम सभी को आज से ही सचेत रहना पड़ेगा।
The President also presented the third National Water Awards on the occasion. 57 awards were given to states, organizations and individuals in 11 categories. In the Best State category, Uttar Pradesh was given first, Rajasthan second and Tamil Nadu third. It is the responsibility of the civil servants to ensure that benefits of the administration reach the vulnerable sections, said Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu on Tuesday. Delivering the first Dr. Rajendra Prasad Annual International Memorial Lecture on the occasion of the 68th Founders' Day of IIPA in New Delhi, the Vice President called for plugging loopholes in the delivery system. He said civil servants must remember that there is no better touchstone of a welfare scheme and development initiative than the prosperity of its beneficiaries through efficient implementation.
Officers working in the Indian Administrative Service, they have a great role to play. The political leadership of the country, they will, and the Parliament, they formulate policies, programs, welfare measures, but reaching out to the people and delivering the developmental agenda and welfare agenda rests with the administrative officers.
Now news from Parliament of India. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman replied to the discussion on the Finance and Appropriation Bill 2022 in the Rajya Sabha today. She asserted that the Modi government believed in reducing the economic burden on common people. Proof of this, she pointed out, is the manner in which it dealt with the corona pandemic. The government didn't impose any new taxes to bring the system back on track. The Finance Minister also pointed out that today India's health services are in a better condition than before.
The outlay for health and well-being was 2,23,846 crores for the year 21-22, which is now coming to an end. Specifically, issues related to health emergency response system, health emergency infrastructure, the allocations have been steady from 2020 and substantial in order that health infrastructure get strengthened.
And the Lok Sabha took up the discussion on the Chartered Accountants, Cost and Works Accountants and Company Secretary Amendment Bill 2021. MPs of many parties put forth their suggestions. The bill amends the Chartered Accountants Act of 1949, the Cost and Works Accountants Act of 1959 and the Company Secretaries Act of 1980. It also strengthens the disciplinary mechanism in the institutions concerned. And in news from the states. Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma called on Prime Minister Modi in Delhi. Many issues relating to the state were reportedly discussed. Sarma later said he had invited the Prime Minister to inaugurate some projects in Assam. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath on Tuesday met World Bank agriculture expert Andrew Goodland in Lucknow. They held discussions on the World Bank's joint program, Agriculture Development and Rural Enterprise Ecosystem Strengthening Project. Jammu and Kashmir Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha visited Mata Vaishno Devi Temple to review arrangements for the upcoming Chaitra Navratri. Chaitra Navratri is starting from 2nd of April this year. West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee on Tuesday called on non-BJP chief ministers and leaders of the opposition parties to unite in the fight against BJP. She also urged a resolution to form a united and principled opposition. Samajwadi Party Chief Akhilesh Yadav has appointed Dr. Sanjay Lathar as the leader of the opposition in the Uttar Pradesh Legislative Council. Lathar belongs to the Jat community. Now news from the world of business and economy. The continued lockdown in business hub Shanghai impacted Chinese markets. Even the Ukraine-Russia peace talks and softening in crude prices failed to have any effect. As a result, the Shanghai Composite was down around 0.5%. However, the rest of the Asian indices took cue from their US and European counterparts. A careful and cautious trading was seen. Hang Seng was up more than 1%. Nikkei of Japan was also up by 1%. South Korea's Kospi ended the trade with 0.5% gain. In India, markets opened with gains and they remained in the green area throughout the day. But trading and gains were limited to a few selective stocks. More so, the market breadth, the BSE was negative with around 58% stocks listed, with the exchange ended with losses. However, the benchmark Sensex gained more than 350 points and closed at 57,944. And National Stock Exchange Nifty 50 was also up by 103 points and ended at the 17,325. Coming up after the break, political uncertainty in Pakistan. Imran Khan's future is at stake. The India startup story. Powerful ideas. Dynamic solutions. Innovation, enterprise. Its success and challenges. Packed in a brand new show, The Journey of Startups, only on Sansad TV. Welcome back. You're watching the news. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar said BIMSTEC member states should combat terrorism and violent extremism collectively to ensure effective multi-sectoral technical and economic cooperation. Addressing the 18th BIMSTEC ministerial meeting in Colombo, He underscored India's commitment to intensify and expand cooperation in the connectivity, energy and maritime sectors. Jaishankar also expressed hope that the Charter and Master Plan will be adopted at the summit on Wednesday. Apart from India and Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Thailand, Nepal and Bhutan are members of BIMSTEC. Sri Lanka is the chair of the summit this year. Prime Minister Modi will take part in the digital summit of the grouping on 30th of March. Now news from Russia and Ukraine conflict. Peace talks between Russia and Ukraine started in Turkey on Tuesday. Although both sides have maintained that talks may not yield significant results, but recent statements of President Zelensky have raised some hopes. Here's a detailed report.
It was a meeting the world was waiting anxiously for. Representatives of Ukraine and Russia met at President Erdogan's office on the banks of Bosphorus in Istanbul. Erdogan called for a ceasefire. However, he acknowledged that it will not be an easy task.
Görüşmelerde zor ve çetrefil konuları ele aldığınızın elbette farkındayız. Bununla birlikte masadaki önerilerin ve varılacak uzlaşmanın ileride sağlanacak nihai barışın temelini oluşturacağı da muhakkaktır. Sorumluluk duygusu, özveri ve yapıcı bir anlayışla kalıcı, hakkaniyete dayalı, sürdürülebilir bir çözüme ulaşabileceğinize eminim. Sizlerin müzakerelerde sağlayacağınız ilerleme, bir sonraki aşama olan liderler düzeyindeki teması da mümkün hale getirecektir.
What has really raised hopes from the peace talks are statements from Ukrainian President Zelensky. In an interaction with the Russian media, he told that Ukraine was ready to go for security guarantees and neutrality and a non-nuclear status. But he added that Russian President Putin would have to meet him face-to-face to find an agreement to end the conflict. In another significant shift, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said that President Putin never said no for meeting with President Zelensky. However, he said there should be clarity on outstanding issues. The ongoing peace talks are marred by the suspected poisoning of Russian billionaire Roman Abramovich and Ukrainian negotiators earlier this month at peace talks on the Ukraine-Belarus border. This time around, Ukraine's foreign minister advised anyone going to the negotiation with Russian Federation not to eat or drink anything and preferably avoid touching any surface. Though the trust deficit is evident, hope floats. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
And amid peace talks, shelling on Ukrainian cities continued. Many civilian establishments in the major cities were targeted. However, Russian officials have told that in order to build mutual trust for peace talks, Russia will scale down the military activity.
The Russian offensive on Tuesday was centered around the southern city of Mykolaiv. A picture released by local authorities claims a Russian cruise missile hit the regional administration building, making a gaping hole in a tower block. 17 people were brought out alive from the rubble. Authorities suspect more are buried under the debris and most of them are civilians. Meanwhile, Ukraine forces also regained lost ground when they recaptured important parts of eastern Ukraine. The mayor of Irpin has claimed victory over Russian forces. On the other hand, the Russian Defense Ministry released footage showing widespread destruction in Mariupol. Separatist forces in Donetsk have accused Ukraine forces of continued shelling using multiple rocket launchers and heavy artillery. At the border, people from war-torn areas are still coming to neighboring countries. Good news, according to the UNHRC, is that daily number of people crossing the border has gone down. More than 3.9 million people have left their homes for safer places. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
And now news from across the globe. Pakistani opposition legislators have launched a no-confidence motion against Prime Minister Imran Khan, hoping to remove his government amid allegations that he has mismanaged the nation's economy. The House will begin a debate on the motion on Thursday.
Thousands of supporters of Pakistan's main opposition parties gathered at a rally in Islamabad on Monday evening. Early in the day, opposition legislators launched a no-confidence motion against Prime Minister Imran Khan on charges that he has mismanaged the nation's economy. Shahbaz Sharif, the opposition leader in the National Assembly, proposed the motion. The development came a day after Khan vowed to defeat the no-confidence effort with the help of lawmakers from his own Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf party and political allies. Uniting under the banner of Pakistan Democratic Movement, opposition lawmakers are, however, trying to convince Khan's coalition partners to turn against him. Qasim Suri, the Parliament's Deputy Speaker, accepted the motion and adjourned the body until Thursday, when lawmakers will have a 3-day debate before holding a vote. On Monday, 4 lawmakers announced they were quitting Khan's coalition government. Pakistan's opposition says it has the required 172 votes in the 342-seat House to oust Khan's government. Political chaos ensued after the opposition's announcement of bringing a vote of no confidence against Khan weeks ago. The incidents mark the toughest challenge of Khan's political career. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
And the US is increasing assistance to India to facilitate development in the fields of clean energy and digital economy. US President Joe Biden has proposed an increase from $25 million in 2021 to $60 million in 2023. The proposal is part of the US State Department's aid in 2023. The US State Department said the step will support India's role as a regional leader. The Biden administration has also proposed to increase health sector assistance to India from $34.5 million in 2021 to $48.5 million in 2023. And in some more news from across the world. American President Joe Biden announced a budget on Monday that calls for higher taxes on the wealthy and lower federal deficits. Biden said it sends a clear message about what his party values. Biden outlined a focus on fiscal responsibility, safety and security, and investments. The budget comes ahead of the midterm elections that could decide whether Congress remains under the party's control. China's largest city, Shanghai, on Tuesday entered the second day of the first phase of its lockdown. The 2-part lockdown has its financial district and adjacent areas. The new Omicron BA.2 variant is behind a new surge in cases in areas that suffered relatively little effect from the pandemic that was first detected in the Chinese city of Wuhan in late 2019. Stadiums have been turned into centralized isolation and treatment points, including the city's World Expo Center. The head of the International Renewable Energy Agency, or IRNA, has warned that the world is running out of the time to reach the Paris Climate Agreement goals. Speaking at the Global Solutions Summit in Berlin, Francois Camara said the world was not on track to reach the 1.5 degrees Celsius global warming target limit set out in the agreement. He argued that the 2 degrees Celsius goal was also in danger of not being reached if the dramatic action is not taken to change the way energy is produced and consumed. Gunmen killed 20 people and injured 6 in western Mexico. 3 women were among the dead after the attack late Sunday. Police said drug cartels and other criminal gangs had been fighting in the area. The region is the scene of the long-standing turf battle between local cartels and the Jalisco cartel from the neighboring state of Jalisco. The fighting has included bomb-dropping drones, landmines and homemade armored cars. And a strong storm triggered a threat of flash flooding in Southern California. Heavy rainfall that saw street flooding in several areas with numerous cars getting stuck in waterlogged roadways. The storms caused water levels to rise in the Los Angeles River. Now all the action from the world of sports. In the 5th match of IPL 2022, Rajasthan Royals are taking on Sunrisers Hyderabad at the Maharashtra Cricket Association Stadium, Pune today. In a clash of former champions, both sides are aiming for a winning start to their campaign. Both the teams have not performed according to the potential in the last few seasons. Gujarat Titans defeated Lucknow Super Giants by 5 wickets in the 4th game of the Indian Premier League played at the Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai last night. Lucknow Super Giants posted 158 for 6 after being asked to bat. KL Rahul's side was reduced to 29 for 4 inside the power play, with Mohammad Shami displaying brilliant fast bowling skills with the new ball. Chasing 159, Gujarat Titans kept on losing wickets at regular intervals, but in the end, Rahul Tewatia, with 40 not out, along with Abhinav Manohar, held their nerves to take Gujarat over the line. And moving to football now, Portugal will play host to giant killers North Macedonia in a do-or-die playoff tie that will secure the winners a place in this year's World Cup finals in Qatar. North Macedonia created a huge shock last week when they eliminated Italy, the winners of 4 World Cup titles, from the running to secure a place in the 32-team tournament. In tennis, top seed Daniil Medvedev moved a step closer to reclaiming the world #1 ranking as he beat Spaniard Pedro Martinez 6-3, 6-4 to reach the last 16 at the Miami Open. Medvedev, who can replace Novak Djokovic in the ATP rankings if he reaches the Miami semi-finals, fired down 14 aces and broke Martinez 3 times to secure victory in 84 minutes. Meanwhile, in the women's draw, second seed Iga earned her 14th straight win after overcoming Coco Gauff in an hour and 18 minutes, 6-3, 6-1. She will face Petra in the quarters. And before we sign off, a relook at the headlines. Historic day for Northeast, says Home Minister Amit Shah. Assam and Meghalaya sign agreement to resolve 50-year-old border dispute. Prime Minister Modi hands over homes to 5,21,000 families in Madhya Pradesh, says previous governments did nothing to empower poor. Budgetary process for 2022-23 concludes. Rajya Sabha returns appropriation bill and finance bill to the Lok Sabha. Prime Minister Modi to attend 5th BIMSTEC summit on Wednesday. Jaishankar's address to ministerial meeting stresses regional cooperation in multiple areas. Crucial round of talks in Turkey to end tensions between Russia and Ukraine. Refugee crisis in Europe at its worst since World War II. Well, that's all we have for you in this edition. Thanks for watching and stay tuned to Sansad TV. Namaskar.